RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
All right, what the hell is going on? I'm sitting down. I know it's a sitting down kind of night. What's up, guys? I'm looking very white too. Oh well, who cares? I should not obsess about my image in the preview monitor. Oh well. All right. Yeah, I just got distracted there. You know, my own worst critic. Hi, everybody. This is Tara Devlin. We're hanging out. Unapologetic liberal talk on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Thank you, Haiku, on the chat for producing the show. Thank you. It's very good. Very good. The music is coming through. I appreciate it. Yes, you can hear the room. I should mute it while I'm sitting here. I should mute. But anyway, whatever. Because one time I coughed. I was like coughing up a disgusting something. I was trying to clear my throat. And someone accused me of having a hairball, like a cat. All right. Listen. I wasn't sure if I was going to do a show tonight. I promised to do a show. I promised yesterday that I was going to do a show, so that's why I'm doing the show, because I'm kind of like in a mood, but I guess that's okay. I'm in a mood because I don't even know where to begin, really. It's the truth. I'm in a mood about this country, so I guess this is the best place to kind of work it out. And it is... I'm kind of sick of it, really. I'm sick of... but I wonder... I guess I'm processing it. I guess that's good in a way, because I know I'm not alone. It's... we're living in an incredibly sick country. But why? Why are we don't have... It's not like we're sicker. I mean, there are levels to sickness, right? We're not living in Afghanistan, at least at this point. But if give the Republicans time, that's what they want. They want to drag us back. Do you think that if they didn't have, if they could, let's say, they wouldn't put women in giant sacks, with slits for eyes? Of course they would. It would all be under the guise of Jesus somehow is offended when women, exist. And you don't want to tempt men or, to take their eyes off of God and put it on your boobies. So, yeah, well, I always wonder, why don't they put the men in the sacks? Put the men in the goddamn sacks. And cover their eyes. But, whatever. I'm not big on religion, especially, well, I mean, I do practice Buddhism. That is a religion, I suppose. I'm not into the big sky spook. Let's put it that way. I always thought the sky spook was kind of bullshit. Because, listen, even if there is a God, do you really think it's a man? It's not a man or a woman. How small and tiny must you be? But also how arrogant, really, to think that God, the image of God, right? Ugh, these people make me sick. And and the worst of all, they make everybody sick. They're making this country sick. I'm sure you've seen. Well, a couple of things I want to talk about tonight. Let's just kind of put it in. I know it's all over the place half the time, this show. So I do thank you for hanging out, and I appreciate it. If you want to hang out with us in the chat room, come on over to youtube.com/C for channel/Tarabuster. And that will, then you'll meet us. You'll meet us all in the greatest chat room in American history. I don't know what you're waiting for, so come on over. But, okay, so I was live. Some of you guys were there when I went to the city on, what the hell was it? Tuesday. Because Jim Jordan took the clown show to Manhattan to, I don't know, because his dim Führer is, the long arm of the law is finally reaching Maramoron and tapping the dim Führer on the shoulder. But so Jim Jordan, whose district is actually, I think it's his, I think it's 2 times, the crime in Ohio is 2 times higher than it is. Well, so it is, so it's 5%, around 5% in New York, and it's 15%, over 15% in Ohio. So, it's all the show. And that's what the Republicans are. It's a clown show, and they're killing us. They're killing this country. But, okay, yes, so we were, and there's Mark C. on the chat. Nice to see you, Mark, on the chat, and nice to see you in person, Mark. It was great hanging out with Mark C., the amazing Mark C. And, yeah. We went out. We went out for brunch or lunch or whatever the hell it was, and it was really awesome to hang out. That's all I gotta say. So, what else? I don't know. It was. I mean, we didn't get to see Jim Jordan or anything. I wish I could have, to do my patriotic duty and yell at him, call him a fascist. So, but hey. It's not like it's out of the realm of possibility. So, all right. It's everything sucks. Let's just start there. So what I wanted to talk about tonight was really the Fox News settlement. I also want to talk about how disgusting Marjorie Taylor Greene is, but that's the overarching theme. But she is the symptom. And the other thing is, excuse me while I clear my throat. It's, well, really the thing that's really pissing me off is, as I'm processing it, is that all right, let me gather my thoughts. It's that, once again, democracy loses. When democracy hangs in the balance with greed, then we don't stand a chance. Because I have to say, so Dominion, and the other thing I wanted to talk about is, like, the assholes who have destroyed this country, and it's all related, because Fox News has given us this country that is an armed madhouse, where children who ring the wrong doorbell get shot through the door, and then not only do they get shot through the door, then the door opens while the child is lying on the ground, and they get shot again for doing nothing except standing on somebody's porch while being a person with darker pigment. So, I have to just say, this is what they've done to this country. And it's Fox News. They are a part of it, spreading the lies. What part of e pluribus unum is that? They have turned this country into this armed madhouse where we're not each other's, fuck each other's keeper. We're not e pluribus unum. We're not that. The Republicans have us, well, not us. I'm talking about the morons. But the morons have power, and this is the problem. They are easily led, and Republicans they have no decency. So they are manipulating them. They know what they're doing to people. They think it's a game, and that's why there's a high incidence of sociopathy in the right, or on the right wing. Well, there's numerous studies that in the halls of power in corporate America, that there's a high number of psychopaths who are CEOs and the rich in the 1%, because these are people that don't give a shit about anybody else but themselves. You, me, everybody, your mama, your papa, your cat, your dog. It doesn't matter. We're nothing. We're just like the sociopath Ayn Rand said, grist for the mill, fuel for others to burn, more, however she put it. And this is a party that venerates the likes of the sociopath Ayn Rand. And we're supposed to all just take that shit seriously. That's another thing that pisses me off. That it should be pointed out. See, if we had a functioning media, which we don't, that would be pointed out. Not just that the likes of Uncle Clarence Thomas and the former Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, gave out as reading assignments. They gave out books, the Ayn Rand Library, to these, to whoever works for them. The interns and the underlings and the clerks would get tasked with reading Ayn Rand, because you want to be in the cult, you got to read a sociopath's vomit that justifies and searches for the superior moral justification for not giving a shit about anybody else but yourself. So, but the rest of us should, we should operate from a position of, unapologetically calling that out for what it is, sickness. You see, just because the Republicans like a sociopath, they like to read the musings of a sociopath, doesn't mean that we should all validate that. The framing needed and continuously needs to be, why are Republicans reading a sociopath? Here's a woman who believes that altruism was evil. If that ain't opposite world, I don't know what is. You see, the thing that gets me with these fucking Republicans and the billionaires and the people in the 1%, and somebody who put it, one of, I think, Dan Goldman, Representative Dan Goldman said that the Republican Party exists to, how did he put it? The Republican Party exists to make sure that the rich pay no taxes or something like that. And that is the truth. That is their governing policy. Anything else it's nothing. It doesn't stand a chance if it gets in the way of making the rich richer and ultimately turning the country into an autocracy. That's the agenda. So make no mistake, I'm really glad that some of the corporate media are waking up to that point now. They seem to be. They're calling them fascist, as they are. They're openly saying that this is an authoritarian coup. It's an ongoing authoritarian takeover. And I'm glad they're doing it. But let's all make no mistakes either that the entire Republican Party, everything about them, their ideology, the people they venerate. This is a party that has a literal con man as a standard bearer, and they read the musings of a sociopath as intellectual inspiration, right? So Ayn Rand, yeah, she's another person, I say that generously, who in her diaries wrote glowingly of a child murderer who had murdered a child because he wanted to see what it felt like. Obviously, he was a psychopath like Ayn Rand. And Ayn Rand wrote that he was a real man, free from any kind of bonds or ties to other people, that he just did what he wanted, and regardless of how it made anybody else feel, and that to her was a real man. So, and what she was discussing was the murder of a child. All right? Not just the murder of a child, but then the tormenting of the child's father. Okay? And tricking the child's father into giving the murderer a payment, making the father think that the child was still alive, and then laughing as he ran away and left the father with the corpse of the child. I mean, the thing, it's so disgusting. It's horrible, horrific. It's the stuff of nightmares come to fruition. And there is Ayn Rand in her private writings. This is when she thinks nobody's looking, right? This is how she behaves, right? That's what they say when you want to really know somebody. Do good things when nobody's looking, right? That's when nobody's looking, how do you behave? But there's Ayn Rand writing in her diary when nobody's looking that she is in awe of a child murderer. And these fucking Republicans take her and make her their I don't know, what's the word? Hero? Is it a hero? They definitely venerate her. They frame government policy around her. They require other human beings to read the vomit that she put on the page. So I guess because they're trying to groom human beings out of being human, because that's what it takes now to be a Republican. It really does. You anything that is humane, decent, compassionate, anything that speaks to leaving no one behind, forget about that. They leave everybody behind. Republicans. It's just them. Me. If you get to come along for the ride, oh well, that's just a happy accident. But they are a cult of sociopathy. And the center of the universe is a very crowded place filled with Republicans. And I'm sick of it. So, as I'm sitting here sick of it, I wonder, how much longer are we going to take it, right? But am I the only one? I can't be the only one who's sick of this, who's sick of the excuses and the fecklessness, the lies. But the fact is, so let's get to Fox News. So-called news. They're not a news organization. They're a fascist propaganda channel, and they settled with Dominion, who was suing them, and all the while through the Dominion lawsuit, we kept hearing how nothing less than democracy was on the line, and that is the truth, and we were hearing it from Dominion. So, but democracy didn't stand a chance when it came to settling. We didn't get the trial we needed to have. We needed to see, and so did the morons and the victims of Fox News. They're not viewers, they're victims. They needed to see and hear Tucker Carlson proclaim himself to be a filthy fascist liar. Maria Barter moron and the rest of them. That's what they needed. Sean Hannity, the stupidest man in media. I didn't name him that. That's just his name in the industry. So they needed to hear these people who are piped into homes all over the country, radicalizing Americans against the very democracy that the founders fought a revolution to entrust to us, to create and entrust to us, because that's what they're doing. Fox News is creating a country of fascist radicals who have no not just interest. They're not living in reality. They live in an alternate reality that is constructed by Fox News and the like, where this is like any fascist movement that we've studied. The fascism doesn't have an interest in truth. It creates its own truth. So that's what we're seeing. And Fox News, so-called news, and they're not news, they just paid over $700 million. Everybody's saying, oh, it's not just a slap on the wrist. It's a drop in the bucket for the filth. The Rupert Murdoch, who is the most dangerous. He is probably the person who's done the most harm in human history, really. But definitely, he started in Australia. They went to England, and they went to United States, to Canada. I mean, he's spreading the poison all over the globe. Rupert Murdoch. Now, the FCC could do something about that, but they won't. The FCC won't. And I have to inform you guys. Remember, we had Ron Placone on the show. We were talking about Gigi Sohn. Call up Chuck Schumer. Get Chuck. Schumer sat on Gigi Sohn's nomination to be the chair of the FCC. Well, after over a year, Gigi Sohn has withdrawn her nomination. She's like, look, I got a life, I suppose. I don't want to deal with these fascist freaks and their unhinged minions. And this is what happens. So now, here we are with a vacant FCC. The head of the FCC is still vacant, thanks to the Republicans. And the Democrats giving in. And Gigi Sohn giving in, frankly, too. But I don't know. I'm not in her shoes. So I don't know what she had to go through, but I can only speculate. But this is how they do it. They obstruct when they can't, when they don't have, the power 100% to destroy democracy. They obstruct. They hate democracy. They hate America. They hate the FCC. Are you kidding? That's why they put that freak in charge. I can't remember his name. It's escaping me. Thank God. There's so many names. Let's see. FCC. Ajit Pai. Oh, my God. Horrible, horrible people whose only, as far as Ajit Pai is concerned, his only qualification was that he is a corporate lickspittle and hates democracy, just like the rest of them. They hate democracy. You understand? And I'm not just saying that. If people are tuning in and they don't know the show, let me think off the top of my head. I'm not just throwing out pejoratives. Ajit Pai opened up the public comment for the FCC because that's part of the FCC's charter. They have to do that. That the public gets to put input into the whatever changes the FCC are considering. So, of course, the overwhelming number, an amount of public comments, because we had fought the net neutrality fight again and again and again, and we had won. So, Ajit Pai, what does Ajit Pai do? Because there's no comments for or against net neutrality, only from the morons. I'm sure, then Fox News started to beat their drum of misinformation, calling net neutrality a government takeover of the internet, because that's all you got to say to the Republicans who hate America. They hate the government, meaning they hate democracy. You have to. You trigger them. You trigger them with all the already pre-programmed buzzwords for them. But there weren't enough of morons, actual dumbasses who were the real dumbasses. Real people posting on the FCC site for abolishing net neutrality. So Ajit Pai just made them up. He just put a whole bunch of fake comments up there because it doesn't matter. It speaks volumes. You understand? Democracy is a show. It's a pantomime to Republicans. They're not sincere. They're not trying to have a functioning democracy. They're not working with us. They're not trying to. They're trying to rule. They're trying to take us back to the system where the rich run and own everything and everybody else shuts the fuck up and awaits their rewards in heaven. You toil in the field, you take your trickle, that's it. You have no say in the matter. You don't pester your betters for anything, for services, for government services, for regulations, for decent middle class life. You know, this is the thing about the right wingers, especially the Fox News victims. The median age of a Fox News victim skews in the 60s, you realize. So they have a very old demographic. And so these are the people who benefited from FDR's New Deal. You see, they're the generation on the last generation before Reagan began to dismantle. You know, they benefited from the New Deal. They lived in a world, especially the white man, right? They lived in a world where everybody knew their place, right? According to them, but for them, if they were workers, they had this misperception that they were able to have a decent middle-class life because they just worked hard, you know. They pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. Never mind the reality that we had a New Deal that built the middle class from the ground up, where we had 35% unionized workforce that set the standards. You know, now the workforce is less than 5%. Is it 5%? Something like that. Around 5% unionized. That's how successful the Republicans have been in destroying the working class. And as the union movement and as unions have been decimated in this country, and of course accompanied with the decimation are the Fox News fascist misinformation, you know, telling people that, oh no, don't worry, you hate unions because unions you have to pay your dues, and then they'll trot out somebody who, like, in a union who did something wrong. You know, this is what Republicans do. They argue by anecdote. They'll say, oh, well, look at this guy. He abused the system somehow, so that means everything sucks. And this is what they do. They do it for anything. Because that's all they have, you know. And then they trigger the morons, and they're like, yeah, I don't want to pay. What am I paying for? My union dues. Never mind that union set the floor, that corporate America doesn't have, let's say, an 8-hour workday, weekends, decent working conditions, any kind of benefits that you may have. Is like they believe that the titans of industry felt like trickling all those things upon us, you know, that they were feeling generous one day. But now we'll see how generous they think. You see, because as you see, the Republicans I've been saying it for years, they don't just want to undo the New Deal. They want to drag us back to the Dark Ages. And believe it or not, all over the country, they're going after child labor laws. And they are successful in relaxing child labor laws. And I've been saying this forever about the child labor laws. It's almost fantastical when you say it. It's like, I've said it before. Republicans are trying to eliminate child labor laws, and people are like, oh, that's a crazy notion. Well, here we are. That's what they're doing, and they do it in very clever ways, because crafty, like a low, cunning way. They'll say, oh, it's just a trainer. You'll get a training wage. So so now adults will get to compete with children who are earning a training wage. And that's just how corporate America and the billionaires who Republicans answer to, that's just how they like it. They like the working class nice and desperate. And, of course, fighting amongst each other. So all the better to have a country where you walk, you make a wrong turn and turn around in somebody's driveway, and then you have some fucking yokel shooting at you from the porch. Because this is where we live. This is where we live, in a country like that, where morons are, they're so fearful. Land of the free, home of the brave. Gone are the days of, we're in this together, right? Are we in this together? We can't even put on a fucking cloth over our stupid mouths, not us, them, because if it saves somebody's life, mission accomplished, Republicans. This is what they've done to us. And I gotta, how much longer? How much longer? Because what happened with Dominion, with the Dominion lawsuit, is that Dominion, for all of their framing the lawsuit as this, of course, their business was harmed by this filthy, fascist, disgusting Rupert Murdoch vomit, but they were framing it as if it were, we're fighting for democracy here. But then here comes the unholy dollar, and democracy doesn't stand a chance. So Fox News earned, they basically paid for their license to lie. And they didn't miss a beat, by the way. I'm sure you saw, they released a statement. When I heard this statement, I knew it right there. We're done. It's over. Either we do something about Fox News, or we're done. But like I said, the FCC isn't going to do anything about Fox News. They could. They have. So here's from NBC, the NBC website. The FCC could choose to act against Rupert Murdoch for Fox News' election lies, but few expect it to. The media regulator was once much more adversarial and had various rules it could enforce, but there's little in the way of expectations it will act about how Fox News misled viewers. So, wouldn't you think this is part of the FCC Charter? You're calling yourself news. And you have a charter, you have you have a license from the Federal Communications Commission to broadcast in the United States. But if your broadcast is detrimental to the very existence of the nation that the founders fought a revolution to create and entrust to us, that so many fought, bled, and died to protect. Right? If your filthy fascist propaganda outlet is acting in opposition to that, is harming that through spreading lies, wouldn't you think that the FCC has a duty to do something about that? So this article was written in March. Wait, hold on. I need to take a sip of my coffee. Thank you. By Jason Abrazui and Kevin Collier from the NBC News. The primary U.S. media regulator doesn't have much it can do to punish Fox News for spreading false claims about the 2020 election. It could theoretically target Fox's chair, Rupert Murdoch, and some of the Fox broadcasting affiliates. The FCC's oversight of Fox broadcast licenses means it could bring its power to bear on Murdoch for its admission that he could have stopped Fox News from spreading misleading claims about Dominion voting systems, which by extension helped spread the lie that the 2020 election was stolen, but it didn't. Murdoch said in a deposition for the lawsuit, in which the Dominion is asking for damages of $1.6 billion. And we know it's been settled now. Experts who spoke with NBC News don't expect action, citing how the FCC has changed over time and the difficulty in bringing major challenges when its power is relatively limited. And of course, it's not going to do anything. It doesn't even have a chair. And this is the way Republicans want it. They don't want a functioning government. They exist to ensure that the rich pay as little taxes as possible, and that's it. And until they can get rid of pesky democracy once and for all, and they're working on it. They're working on it, and they have been quite successful thanks to the likes of Fox News. And I have maintained again and again, and if you're watching this show, if this is 400 years from now and you're watching this show, I want you to know I predicted it. Not that I'm like, Miss Cleo, but I've been saying forever that the media is really the primary reason this country is so divided. The Telecommunications Act, signed by Bill Clinton, that gave us these silos of information, and now we have one. We have this right-wing media, and it's getting progressively more radical, getting more and more outrageous. They really are. If Fox News it's not even the moderate version of Der Stürmer anymore. They're outright competing with the swill. You understand? So we had that. It's not on the. This is a major media outlet, and it's competing with the likes of God knows. I mean, the shit the swill that comes out of Newsmax, OAN, the Nick Fuentes podcast. Yeah, they all say, oh, well, Nick Fuentes, he's a Nazi. He's not just a Nazi. He hates America. He hates democracy. That's one of his, that's something that he openly talks about. So it's not just that he's anti-Semitic, which is this is what the corporate media says, that Trump had dinner with a Nazi and Trump, and his anti-Semitism. That's only one aspect of who that scumbag is. It's, he's the whole package. He not only is an anti-Semite, of course, but so are the rest of them. And Nick Fuentes, he's somebody that says the quiet part out loud, but Fox News is saying the same damn thing. Now, they are competing with the people who watch Nick Fuentes' podcast or whatnot. Those are the same viewers. This is the overlap. So Nick Fuentes talks about he wants to put Trump in office and what do you call it? Cancel all elections. That's the end of elections. Well, sounds like just like what happened in Nazi Germany, but okay. And what Fox News is really saying the same things. The same people watch. That's what they don't even care about the damage that they do to democracy, as we know. And just like the Republican Party, when in the Republican Party, the only thing that gets you kicked out of the party or censured is when you have a shred of integrity, when you do something to help the democracy that the founders fought a revolution to create and entrust to us, you're censured by your party. When you show a shred of integrity, when you follow the, ethical standards, like Jeff Sessions, for example, when he recused himself from something that had to do with Trump. And then that was the thing that got him on Trump's bad side and the rest of the Republican Party. He couldn't come back from that. That was it. He had shown some integrity, a sliver, not even the basic level that anybody who thinks they're a lawyer would follow. And that's the only thing that gets him in trouble. The same thing with Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney. They get censured by their party for standing up to the filth and the lies and the fascism and the coup. So is this is where we live? Is there salvaging the Republican Party? So I don't think so. This is the Republican Party is beyond hope. I mean, look at who they have in their party. George Santos, who of course said that he is he filed for, he's running for re-election, George Santos. So there goes another lie. Right? He said that he wouldn't run for re-election. So here we go. But guess what, guys? There will be some right-wingers, some Republicans will vote for him. They will. Because I can't. All right. I don't even know what to. Because I'm thinking. My mind is racing. Frankly, it really is. Because I just can't even believe where the fuck we live. But there will be people who will vote for George Santos, regardless, because they have been so propagandized that they think that, and I've heard them before. We've played clips of them. They say, well, I don't want, I don't like him, but I don't want I don't want a Democrat in there that's going to vote like AOC or something. Because AOC, if you go on Fox News, she's just been hammered and vilified. Well, what's the kooky things that she's talking about? What? Taxing the rich? Decent living wages? What? I mean, it's cuckoo stuff. It's cuckoo land in there. Healthcare? Not dying needlessly without healthcare? Ooh, cuckoo. That's crazy talk. And then you have the filth on the right, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is an embarrassment. And there will be people who will vote for her, of course. Doesn't matter that she's disgusting, that she has no business being anywhere near the halls of power in any sense. I mean, she really doesn't. Do you see how vile the Republicans, do you see what they've done to us in the eyes of the world? Of course, this is madness. It's absolute madness here. But they'll vilify and attack anybody that isn't a complete fascist, of course. Like I'm saying with AOC. She's just talking about FDR Democratic policies. Oh, but that's cuckoo. That's crazy. And this is part of what the Republicans and the corporate media does this. They'll never, ever ask for specifics. What are you talking about? If you have some right winger on a so-called left channel, and there's no left corporate media, by the way. You're looking at the left, the liberal media, I know. But yeah, the corporate media will never push back or ask a follow-up and say, well, what are you talking about? What's so cuckoo? What's the cuckoo policies you're talking about? Well, what? No specifics, of course. In a country where they'll say, oh, it's so cuckoo to provide health care as a right of citizenship rather than a privilege of wealth. But it's not cuckoo to live in a country where we pay 4 times more for health care than the next most expensive country, where we consistently rank dead last in all positive measures, where we leave millions out, bankrupt millions, needlessly kill thousands, leave millions out, and consistently rank last in all positive measures. But that's, it makes a few people very rich. So that means it must prevail. It must survive. Forget the rest of the world figured it out years ago that there are better ways to ensure health, especially in a country. This is part of what I believe. Healthcare is not just a human right; it's a patriotic imperative. We live in a fucking country where assholes who consume Fox News shoot young people for standing on their porch. Because they have darker pigment. This is how disgusting the poison is that comes from right-wing media. So, healthcare, in my opinion, is one of the ways that we unify this country. Yeah, you don't just say that. What gets on my nerves all the time with Joe Biden. He stands up there and he'll say, we are the United States. He'll start preaching about, we are the United States. There's nothing we can't do. As if we're going to be all of a sudden say, oh yeah, we're the United States. But it doesn't work like that. Unity is an action, right? At this point, especially, in my opinion, healthcare is a patriotic imperative. You want to unify this country, then you go out there and say, you know what? This country is so damn divided, and I'm not taking it anymore. I'm sick of it. We leave millions behind all the time. And if we are going to preach e pluribus unum, that means that if you're sick and you can't go to a doctor, that's a shame on all of us in the richest country on earth. If you're sick and you can't go to a doctor because you don't know if you can afford it, you're not free. So, this is what what the Democrats need to do. They need, to frame things like that as a patriotic imperative, because it is really a crisis. We need to, if we're gonna survive, we have to unify. But of course, I'm talking pipe dreams at this point, really, because greed is the only American value. That's it. Greed, suspicion, division. I got mine. Sucks to be you. Right? As long as you get money, democracy can go pound sand. And that's what pissed me off about Dominion settling. Don't tell me you're all about how harmful this is to democracy. You should have made them go to trial. To, in the very least, have to apologize on air and to admit what they did. Instead, they get up there and they release a statement saying that this settlement proves that we have the highest standard of journalistic integrity? Are you fucking kidding me? And I'm sure you saw the clip of Jake Tapper, right? Let's see if I have it here. Laughing.
Put a positive face on what can only be interpreted as one of the ugliest and most embarrassing moments in the history of journalism. Fox issued a statement saying, quote, "We are pleased to have reached a settlement of our dispute with Dominion voting systems. We acknowledge the court's rulings finding certain claims about Dominion to be false. The settlement reflects," I'm sorry, this is going to be difficult to say with a straight face. "This settlement reflects Fox's continued commitment to the highest journalistic standards. We are hopeful that our We are hopeful that our decision to resolve the dispute with Dominion amicably instead of the acrimony of a divisive trial allows the country to move forward from these issues." Unquote.
Yeah. I hope that it allows the country to move forward. No. The country's not moving forward because we still have millions of Americans watching Fox News as if it's news. That the country's not moving forward until Fox News and the Republican Party are in history's trash pile. Fox News is the enemy of the people. It's not news. It's propaganda. It's not. It's worse. I mean, it is. Well, is it worse than propaganda? What's worse? It's just filth. It's divisive lies meant to divide and conquer this country. And Rupert Murdoch is a criminal. He is he's a disgusting example of everything that's wrong with humanity. Really, selfishness, disgusting greed. Because greed, that's it. You know, greed is the only American value. We might as well forget e pluribus unum and change the national motto to "I got mine, sucks to be you." Because that's what it's about. It really is sucks to be you. If your child dies in a school shooting, sucks to be you. Nothing we can do. If you can't go to a doctor, if you're sick, oh well, sucks to be you. Nothing we can do. If you, get lost and make the wrong turn into somebody's driveway and one of you gets shot by some fucking moron, oh well, that's freedom. This is the price of freedom. They take no responsibility. Of course, the party of personal responsibility never takes responsibility for the part they play in making this country a joke, an armed madhouse. Yeah, I don't even know what else. How do you put it? It's an embarrassment. Is this it? Is this what we're gonna go with? We're gonna go with this. But the problem is greed. It always comes down to greed. Money in politics is the root of all evil. And the American people have been sold. That's it. Your sacrifice. You wore the uniform of this country like I did. Or, God forbid, one of your, if you, I'm not, obviously, people who have made the ultimate sacrifice for this country aren't listening to the show, but those people are being insulted every single day. The sacrifices that they made, giving their life for this country. Is this what they did? They gave their life, so what? So Fox News could continue to turn this country, to divide it? Because they wanted money. That's it. And they admitted it. It's not red or blue. It's green. That's what Rupert Murdoch, 92-year-old Rupert Murdoch said. 92. He doesn't have enough money at 92 years old. He doesn't know. He needs more money. He might lose some money. He might lose a zero off the end of his bank account. And what? He won't be able to jerk off or something? I don't know what it is. That is a sickness. But who's sicker, Is it Murdoch or is it the rest of us that allow it to continue like this? because, you know, we're all supposed to sacrifice ourselves for the few at the top. Our lives are nothing but playthings for them. But it's not really supposed to be that way. Of course, that's the fantasy that they tell us as they destroy everything, including the serenity. You know, you can't living in this country. One thing about this country, living here, is the stress of living here, because there isn't a social safety net. Because it really is one day at a time. Because we live in a country where the majority, 60% of the American people, are living paycheck to paycheck. And then if you interview them and you ask them if they're middle class, they'll say yes. Because they have been so propagandized. I'm sorry, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, that's not middle class. If you can't, when the Republicans shut down the government again, and you have to, when you miss one paycheck, you end up at the food bank, you're not middle class. But, you know, here in America, we're supposed to vilify anybody who's not born with a trust fund, and somehow those born on third base thinking they hit a triple, they're I guess they're the heroes now. They're the heroes, like like Trump. Liars, charlatans, con men. If you have empathy, if you're not a complete sociopath, you're a cuckoo, right? You're crazy. That's your crazy talk. How dare you think? I mean, that's really just nutty, thinking that the richest country on earth can provide basic services for the people who live here. I mean, what is the point of citizenship? Well, I know that for the ones at the top, we're here to be squeezed. We pay our taxes so they don't have to. And then that makes them smart, we're told. But it makes us suckers, that's for sure, because we allow them to get away with it. And morons will vote for it again and again and again. Because they've been, what's the payoff? They've been told that you can hate somebody, right? You can hate somebody with darker pigment, or some trans person, who the trans community are less than 1% of the population, but there's so many bills all over the country. The legislation against trans people, it is disgusting and shameful. And if that's not fascism, nothing is. You are legislating people out of existence? That's what they're trying to do. Because if they can't put them in camps and kill them outright, they need to eradicate them, symbolically annihilate them through legislation. Can't get gender affirming care. You can't be who you are. You can't be called what you are, what you want to be called. You can't dress in the manner that is comfortable to you. You can't join in the teams that you want to be with. You got to be. They're really trying to trying to eradicate trans people. Just like the Nazis. The Jews were less than 1% of the German population when the Nazis made all their laws against Jewish people, the existence of Jews, the very existence. And where does it go? When people show you who they are, believe them. They're legislated. Well, they can't legislate against Jewish people, but they would if they could. You understand? They've picked a new minority group to vilify and try to eradicate, because that's what they got to do. They got nothing else. They need money and power for themselves. If they have to sacrifice 1% of the population, that's the price they're going to pay. In this fucked up country. And, you know, I'm friggin' sick of it. Here in America, while the Republicans steal and ensure that the rich get richer and the working class fall lower and lower on the ladder, while they, you know, throw trans people into the red meat for the dumbasses. And well, here's an article. America's fourth leading cause of death is poverty. Well, we have the number one cause of death for children are guns. We know that. Congratulations, Republicans. You've made it. And the fourth leading cause of death in America is poverty. But, you know, you see, what's the Republican answer to that? It would be, if I were to venture a guess, not less than nothing, right? Nothing would be to just shut your filthy fascist mouth. But what they would do is ensure that, I don't know, lifelines are cut. That's what they do. They want to make it worse, make poverty worse, because if you're down, the only problem is that you haven't been kicked enough. So they want to kick you again and again. I mean, all over the country. This is what Republicans do, and they love Jesus too. I got to remind you. Yeah, this is from usnews.com. Karen Mures, the health reporter, writes, poverty is the fourth greatest cause of death in the United States. Congratulations. Researchers at the University of California, Riverside estimate that poverty was associated with 183,000 deaths in 2019 among people 15 years and older. Poverty. In the richest country on earth, right? Well, that just makes you smart if you don't pay taxes, right? You're just smart. Make America great again. And how many people believe that Trump is a working class hero? So disgusting. And they'll vote Republican. And that's a conservative estimate, they say, because the year was just prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. Poverty kills as much as dementia, accidents, stroke, Alzheimer's, and diabetes. Poverty silently killed 10 times as many people as all the homicides in 2019. And yet, homicide, firearms, and suicide get vastly more attention. Well, a lot of people are probably committing suicide because of poverty. And homicide, too, I would imagine. People living in poverty have incomes less than 50% of the U.S. median income, the researchers noted. In 2021, the median household income was $70,784 per household, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Impoverished Americans have roughly the same survival rate as richer folks until they hit their 40s, and then they die at significantly higher rates. Well, it's probably because you can't go to a doctor. The analysis found that only heart disease, well, also, I'm sure, the diet, right? Because you eat a lot of shit when you're poor. You know, there's a lot of cheap shit like McDonald's dollar hamburgers and crap. Heart disease, cancer, and smoking kill more people than poverty. Deaths related to obesity, diabetes, drug overdoses, suicides, firearms, and homicides were all fewer than deaths associated with poverty. Researchers analyzed income data from the Institute for Social Research at the University of Michigan and death data from household surveys from cross-national equivalent file. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. Because certain ethnic and racial minority groups are far more likely to be in poverty, our estimates can improve understanding of ethnic and racial inequalities in life expectancy. Oh, wait a minute. That sounds very woke to me. Not if Ron DeSantis had something to say about it. This is, you see how the symbolic annihilation of right-wingers, this is what they do. They symbolically annihilate the poor, the people of color, people of, LGBTQ, whatever. Symbolic annihilation is the first step to actual annihilation. That's the thing. If we had less poverty, there'd be a lot better health and well-being. People could work more and they could be more productive, said Brady, director of UCR's Blum Initiative on Global and Regional Poverty. All of those are benefits of investing in people through social policies. Well, that makes too much sense. If you invest in people, though, some old dirtbag like Rupert Murdoch, some raisin-looking motherfucker, won't be able to get more money on top of all the other money he has at the age of 92. He won't be able to take all of that ill-gotten gain and pass it on to his undeserving heirs tax-free to create the next intergenerational aristocracy, the likes of which the founders fought a revolution to overthrow. I'm sick of it. And I just want to say thank you, Jim, for your super chat. I didn't thank you earlier. And thank you, Elise, for your super chat. That means a lot. Thank you so much. If you can, become a patron at patreon.com/Tara Devlin. Please do. Keep the show going. Whatever. Who cares, right? I'm just so sick of it. Here's Fox News. This is them hard at work.
High crime.
America's crime crisis.
Crime is a disease.
We need crime control.
Shootings, murder, assault, anarchy in the streets of our entire country almost. Violent offenders, they are roaming the streets.
The point is disarming you so you can't defend yourself against their plans for you.
The issue is not too many guns. The issue is too many thugs, hoodlums, and savage criminals on our street.
Yeah, like a young kid who rings the doorbell. Or a kid who accidentally gets into the wrong car at a shopping mall. Or kids who go up the wrong driveway by accident. See let me watch this again.
High crime.
America's crime crisis.
Crime is a disease.
We need crime control.
Shootings, murder, assault, anarchy in the streets of our entire country almost.
Who the fuck? This is what I always say about Republicans with their fetish, their gun fetish. Where the hell do they live? Where do they think they live? It's so disgusting. The way they just hate this country. Crime? Where the fuck do they live? And this was what Jim Jordan, when he came here, was talking about. Like, this country is, not the country, the city is such a shit show. It's really not. And like it's been pointed out, the crime in Ohio is 2 times higher than it is here in New York, and there's 1.5 million people living in New York City alone. So what's going on in Ohio? The problem is guns, of course. You see, you have the guns, and then you have the fear mongering. from the Republicans who fucking hate this country. You understand? It can't be said enough. They hate this country. Fox News hates this country. They absolutely do. And anybody who works at Fox News, now I told you guys, I swear, I know some, well, do I know people who work there now? No. I work in TV. People know this. I got contacted once to work at Fox News. And I was like, no, I said no, of course. I would rather eat dirt than work there. I'd be in a fucking homeless shelter before I worked at Fox News. Frank, it would be like working for Der Sturmer, really. And I knew somebody who was an editor there, and this was years ago, and I was talking to him, and he was telling me, that he used that I hit the button, that he used to work there, and I was like, I would never work there. I guess it kind of annoyed him, and he's like, well, what if you had to feed your family? What if you had a... I was like, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I know that. I would not last a minute there. Maybe a day. Less than a day. And I've heard, I knew this comedian that worked there, and then he quit and started using his experience there in his act, talking about it. And it was, just a bunch of fucking racists. But you have to tune out what they're telling you to do, I would imagine. And or you believe in it. So the person who contacted me about the job, they were like, and I was like, look, it's not a good fit. I'm sure you understand. And the woman she said, oh, I understand, but we have such a great corporate culture here. And I was like, I didn't say anything. And I was like, well, whatever, lady. But she was like, if you know anybody that would like to come work here, blah, 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 send them my way. I was like, I wouldn't send people your way. But anyway, I was thinking, because she was like, we have such a great corporate culture. I don't doubt that. I'm sure they have a lovely culture there in the halls of Fox News. But what about the American culture? That's more my concern. I didn't say that to the lady. I probably should have, but it's it's part of the problem. I mean, it's one thing if you believe in it, but if that's what you want to do. But I don't want to work for Der Sturmer. I don't want to work for the People's Observer, the German Fox News. Not German, Nazi Germany. Oh, God. But, I mean, watching this, you got to think that these crackers who have no other, I guess, contact with the outside world. They have Fox News on all the time, and it's feeding them this nonsense. Because I do know that sometimes I get contacted by right-wingers just by doing this show, and they say shit to me, and I realize that they're living in an alternate universe. I remember somebody contacted me, and they were like saying something about how Portland's been burned to the ground. And that is not true. That is for whatever happened in Portland, because they're talking about the Black Lives Matter movement, and the Republicans, and especially Fox News, they hammered home this false narrative that which is what they had to do, because the Black Lives Matter movement was very scary to Rupert Murdoch's zeros on his bank account. Because if Americans stop hating each other because of racism, then we would be unified, and we would actually have a democracy that works for all, and Rupert Murdoch's assault on democracy would be in vain, right? So they can't. That's the Black Lives Matter movement was was incredibly and is incredibly threatening to the fascists at Fox because, it's not just people with darker pigment. That's terrifying to them. It's all pigments saying Black Lives Matter. So, and they can't have that. So that's why they had to send out their agent provocateurs, and we've talked about it on the show, how the violence that supposedly were committed in different Black Lives Matter protests, when, I'm not saying, I don't know the percentage, but there were more than a handful were attributed to right-wingers. Because, their right-wingers are all about false flags, right? Now, I've been in the liberal sphere, in the progressive movement or whatever, forever. Never, ever have I ever encountered anybody talking about, let's do a false flag. All right? That shit comes from the devious minds of the right. And that's the way it is, because the right-wingers, they project, everything is a confession or a projection, but they talk about, oh, this is a false flag, Sandy Hook's a false flag, everything's a false flag to them, because that's how they think. They would do a false flag, and they do. They do things like that. Everything's a show. Everything is a show for the dupes, like Jim Jordan's trip to New York. That was a show for the dupes. And yeah. And that's the thing with this Dominion settlement. I don't see. Okay, I had some hope there for a second that Fox would have to pay, that Fox would be, if not destroyed, exposed, that they would have to be accountable in front of their viewers and have to explain to their viewers and / victims that they lied right to their faces. And that wasn't part of the settlement. I don't know why. If it was all about democracy, Dominion, no, I know it wasn't all about democracy. You wanted to make yourself whole. Well, what about this country? What about the people? Because nothing is going to make the country whole if the people are still twisted, because the right-wingers and Fox News are still spreading lies. They're still doing it. Now, Fox News, so-called news, learned its lesson, and they're still spreading the big lie, except now they're not naming names. They talk about the questions about the election, but they're not talking about Dominion. They're still spreading the lies, though. Here, in fact, what's his name? Mike Lindell, who is also being sued by Dominion. Here is Mike Lindell yesterday.
Well, all that did, that little thing over, all you journalists that are watching right now looking for me to, oh, boy, I wonder what Mike Lindell's going to do. Fox settled. Isn't he worried about his company and all that? Yeah, I've been worried about my company. I care about each and every employee I have like they're my only employee. But you know what? They're all working downstairs, and they're all working at that factory right now, and they know that we've had our faith in God this whole time. God's had his hand in this.
Of course.
And you know what? The truth will get out there, but more and more evil keeps being revealed.
Incredible.
And this little settlement that Fox did, do I think there's some kind of strange things behind that? A company that called Arizona early that never reached out to me for any evidence. And then they make this settlement over here. I think there's more coming, Brandon, too, by the way. It's very, very strange that you don't take the route that, hey, let's see if there was evidence. Let's see the evidence. And instead of just playing lawfare, and then you don't even ever talk or even have anybody on about what things that are going on right now currently. Brandon, I believe that if you came out right now let's say Kerry Lake's, where it's down there with that judge, said, yep, you know what? Boom. That is true. 104 ballots were.
It's incredible.
The signatures were off. Kerry Lake, you win. Katie Hobbs, get out of there.
Stop.
You're in there by a fraudulent election. And you think Fox News would report that? Probably not. That's the world we're in right now. Maybe, you know what?
It's incredible. He won't shut the fuck up. He continues to lie. Well, why don't they use my evidence? As if they didn't. As if they didn't have their texts and their documents and their admissions that they knew they were lying and did it anyway. They had texts and emails that where the only person who got in trouble was the one who was trying to fact check them. She had to be fired. The one who was like, we can't compete, we can't repeat these lies. And Tucker Carlson's like, this has to stop. You realize that? A woman who was working, see, in other news organizations, they have if you're actually trying to be a legitimate news outlet, you have a division of standards and practices. And everything has to run through standards and practices. So if, for example, because I've worked in news before, I've worked in live TV and news, and it has to be accurate. And if it's not accurate, you have to retract it, and you have to make an apology, and you have to point it out. Like if there's something wrong on a map, let's say. It has to be, you can't make shit up. Let's put it that way. You cannot alter it or for aesthetic reasons, or you can't change words. It has to adhere. I mean, and this is why, it goes through lawyers too. Like these standards and practices are, looked over by lawyers so you don't get sued. And also because you're trying to be a legitimate news source. It's incredible. But what does Fox News... The first thing was knowing... Now, this was years ago when Fox first came on the scene, and they really did poison the entire media, the American media landscape, because Fox News had the lowest, budget for news gathering. You understand that? So this so-called news outlet had the lowest budget for news gathering. So they don't have journalists. You see, news gathering is a thing. And one of the things with media in general, like the days of Edward R. Murrow, the big three networks, CBS, ABC, and NBC, would have their news division, and it was a point of pride. And the news division was never supposed to turn a profit. It wasn't there to turn a profit. It was there to fulfill their constitutional duty. And the news division was separate from the entertainment division. That was the other thing. The news wasn't supposed to be entertainment. It was supposed to inform, because we were a democracy, and there's the only profession enshrined in the Constitution as being essential for that democracy is the news. So the news was never supposed to be a profit margin or to have a profit attached to it, but this all changed, of course. It started with CNN. Then you got the CNN 24-hour news cycle. That was the first network that was based in news. But I guess Rupert Murdoch, I don't know the whole history of Rupert Murdoch's useless waste of human DNA life, but all I know is that he is a disgusting, greed-centered sociopath, there's no doubt. And if he was never born, the world would be a much better place. But I wonder if somebody would just fill his shoes in a different way. But anyway, it's so the news. Anyway, as far as Fox News, so-called news, is concerned, when Fox News did not turn a profit for 5 years, so they poured $500 million into Fox News, and this was years ago, I guess, when $1 billion meant something, and so they poured $500 million into Fox News for 5 years until it turned a profit, because profit was not in the business model of Fox News. They One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now you hear that, right? This is so fucked up. No, I know. Unfucking real. All right. I think you can hear me now. Am I wrong? Right. I'm back. Right. Unbelievable. Fucking shit. You can't hear me? You can hear me, right? Yeah, it's just... This is fucked up. This is so fucked up. This is what I'm talking about. This is a new fucking computer. No, I had to turn off the loop back. See, this is a problem, too. Oh my God. Why? How? Why is that doing it? It's just so, well, I don't know. I don't understand. I can hear it. What happens is this fucking computer, which is, I gotta contact Apple. This is bullshit. This is absolute bullshit. Because what happens is I hear it pop out in my headset and I'm like, great. Now I know it's gonna get kicked off. Like all of a sudden it disconnects. And I don't know what to fucking do about it. This is a brand new goddamn computer. All right? It's an M1 computer. A stupid Mac fucking Pro. I gotta call them. That's what I have to do. I gotta get on like the Apple whatever. Not that they're gonna... Who the fuck knows? But this is bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Because what happens is I have an external hard drive where there are stuff connected, you know. But I'm not using the external hard drive right now, but it's just there. And every now and then it'll say the hard drive is disconnected. It'll just disconnect. But the hard drive has its own power source too. So that's bullshit. So it's not a power thing, you know? And then I've looked it up that other people are writing that I'm on an M1 and my hard drive's disconnecting. It's really fucking... I know I'm muted. I'm not muted anymore, am I? Fuck. This is... Oh, anyway. Whatever. So pissed. So fucking pissed off. Like, I don't need this shit. I have so much to do. This is why I can't get shit done. You understand? I wish I can't. There's only one of me. God. And then I gotta say, please become a patron. Please become a patron. I'm gonna fucking ram my head against the wall. Fuck. Alright, let me try this. 1, 2, 3. It's back. Now it's back. Now it's back, right? You could still hear me. I cannot take it. And now I'm like, lost my flow. Where's my cat? And Tara Jr.'s in the bedroom. You see Francis? He's sleeping. Franny? Say hi. Look, he's on my shirt. That's Francis. He's on my shirt. See that? That's him. He's on my shirt. Okay, so I guess the trick is the next time, if that happens again, which it probably will, I have to shut down. Oh, well, that's not good. I have to shut down loopback. I'm like so annoyed right now. All right. There goes half the show. All right, let me see. Maybe we'll save it for Friday. I have so many other, because I wanted to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm so annoyed right now. So, I don't know if I can handle it. Yeah, I think I'm going to just hang it up for tonight. I'm so annoyed. But we have more. We'll have another show tomorrow night. I know, you had one job, computer. This sucks. See, I almost choked on myself. It just sucks. I don't know what to do. I gotta call them now. Oh. All right, I gotta go because I'm annoyed. I'm sorry. I can't continue. We had more shit to talk about. We'll talk about it tomorrow. And then next week, after, next Friday, we're going to have the author of Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Confessions of... You know that book? He's coming on this show. That's a kind of famous book. What's his name again? Wait. Yeah, John Perkins. Yeah, that's it. I knew it was John. He's coming on the show next week. We're going to have a conversation. Confessions of an Economic Hitman. John Perkins. Because there's an update. All right. I'm sorry, everybody. Thank you, Covert White Rabbit. You're muted. Thank you, guys. I'm sorry. Alrighty, guys. Listen. We'll talk. We have tomorrow. I'm in a bad mood now. I am. And I think I have to go. I gotta go watch TV. I'm going to just put on something that doesn't have anything to do with Republicans. At this point, I'm sick of them. What's good? I don't know. All right, listen, guys. Listen. Remember, we will win. I know, he's been sleeping there the whole time. Oops, now I'm breaking the place. And he was blending in. I'm sure you didn't see him. Right, Frankie? Right, Franny? We will win. He doesn't bother me during the show, so he can stay out. We're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, and democracy. Thank you so much, guys, for hanging out. I'm really sorry about the computer issues. You know, we'll see what happens. I hope that doesn't happen when John Perkins... Oh, God. All right. My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you so much for hanging out. And I will see you tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a good night, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.